Well, the impeachment trial of former President Trump is set to take place next week. This comes as Senator Lindsey Graham is warning Democrats not to call in any witnesses during the trial, or he will force the FBI to testify about security failures during the January 6th Capitol Hill riots. Joining us to discuss is Republican Congressman from Ohio. Eventually, we're going to have, I'm told, the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan. Congressman Jordan, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully Bob Sellers is going to join us again. We just had a fiery segment right before you. Let's move this forward, though, and let's talk about this impeachment trial, which apparently is going to happen next week. It's coming up. Yep. We've had briefs that have been filed, both sides talking about it. What do you see happening next week?
Well, I think there's some fundamental arguments that you'll see made from the president's legal team. One is it's unconstitutional. I mean, how do you impeach a president who's already left office? You know, the Supreme Court Chief Justice is not even going to preside. So you're going to have a member of the jury actually also functioning as the judge for the proceedings. So I think there's a lot of questions on the constitutionality of this. I think it's pretty clear that it's not constitutional, but that doesn't, you know, Democrats don't seem to care about that. They also don't care about due process. Remember, this was a 2-hour impeachment in the House. 2 hours. At least the last time when they did impeachment a year and a half ago, they might have done it in a bunker in the basement of the Capitol, but at least there were subpoenas, depositions, questioning of witnesses, hearings, cross-examination, all the things you expect when you're actually trying to get to the facts and getting to the truth. So you got the unconstitutionality concern here. You've got the due process concern, which I think is very real. And then, of course, you got the facts. Right. You know, how does the president incite a riot that was already planned? How did he incite a riot that when he said peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard? So I think the facts are on the president's side as well. I think the American people see this for what it is. This is an obsession by the Democrats. Remember, they tried to remove President Trump from office before he got there. Now they're trying to remove him after he's already left. That's the obsession the Democrats have with going after the president. Right.
I think Bob is there.
Let me. Hey, Congressman, I wanted to ask you, Senator Graham had suggested that if there are witnesses called by the Democrats, that he was going to suggest they call FBI witnesses as well. What would that be for? And would that be targeted on the issues at hand here? Or would it be like the previous investigations into the president and kind of divert the attention to what the Democrats have been doing against the president over the years? What do you think that would reveal, that strategy?
Well, I don't know for sure, but my hunch is you would ask people in law enforcement, Capitol Hill Police, you would ask people in the FBI, what did they know beforehand? Remember, there were bombs planted at the Republican National Committee the day before. The attack was planned before the president even gave his remarks at the ellipse. So I think knowing some of that and asking some of those questions, and Senator Graham is exactly right. If the Democrats are going to call, the Democrat impeachment team is going to call witnesses, then certainly the defense should be able to call witnesses as well. After all, it's called fairness. It's a trial. There's supposed to be real due process, even though they didn't have any due process, frankly, on the House side. This was, I think, as my colleague Matt Gaetz has said, this was impeachment by reflex. I mean, it was a 2-hour thing, and there they go. So. Yeah, if they call those law enforcement personnel, I think they'll be asking about what they knew beforehand and the pre-planning of this attack.
Yeah, Congressman Jordan, do you think that it would be wise, and would it even be possible for the president's legal team to just move for this to be dismissed? And if that was granted, then would this trial just not happen next week? Is that even a possibility?
Well, there may be that kind of motion. I don't know. Okay. I think you had kind of you saw some of that already with what Senator Paul did when he made the motion on the constitutionality of it and sort of made that motion a week ago. And you saw that 45 Republican senators agreed with Senator Paul. I think that's a good indication of where this is headed. I don't think they're going to get a conviction. You remember, they got to get 67 senators to get a conviction. Look, this, as I said before, we should never forget that they tried to remove President Trump from office before he got there when they launched the whole Trump-Russia investigation back in July of 2016, which was a bunch of baloney, no proper predicate for launching that. President Trump gets sworn in on January 20th, 2017, 19 minutes after he takes the oath of office. The Washington Post headline was, campaign to impeach President Trump now begins. So they couldn't even wait 20 minutes. And now that he's left office, they're continuing this. I think most Americans, Republicans, independents, Democrats, across the political spectrum, again, I think they see this for what it is. This is about going after President Trump because they don't want him to run again in 2024. That's really what this is about.
Congressman, do you think, because history shows us that impeachments don't always turn out politically the way the party pursuing them hoped, do you think this could actually backfire on the Democrats that think they have the president on this particular article and hurt them politically, that even shows up in the next election?
I mean, well, the short answer is, we'll see. But I think when you look at what they're doing to President Trump, this impeachment after he's left office, coupled with all the executive orders, where they killed, 10,000 jobs with the Keystone Pipeline. They're going to kill another 1 million jobs with the ban on drilling on federal lands. Then if they add the minimum wage in there, that's another 1 million jobs. So 2 million plus jobs that they're getting rid of, destroying in the American economy, coupled with what they're doing on immigration policy via executive order, just opening the borders. And then what you see happening in our big cities, where we're not looking out for the best interests of the student, and these teachers unions are just staying on strike and refusing to go back and teach the kids. You're going to work every day. The folks who plant the food and who stock the shelves and who deliver things to all of us across, they're working every single day, and they've been working every single day. So I think when you put it all together, that's going to create an environment where I think we can win. When we stand up for working class, middle class families and defend the values and principles and their First Amendment liberties, their Second Amendment liberties, I think that all plays out over the next 2 years. And I do think our chances are good. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. What do you think about this plan to possibly ram through this $1.9 trillion COVID relief package? We were talking about that in the previous segment.
Why don't we just go back to work?
Yeah.
Why don't we let all Americans go back to work? The ones who want to, most of them do. Just let them go back to work. We said I think this yesterday, the best stimulus check is a paycheck. Open up the American economy. Let it earn and turn and burn and create all the jobs that it was creating just a year ago before COVID hit, when we had the best economy in 50 years, lowest unemployment. The Trump economy was amazing. Let's get back to that. I think the families I represent in the 4th District of Ohio, that's what they would prefer. Just let everyone go back to work. The best stimulus check is a paycheck. Let Americans go do that.
All right. Thank you so much, Congressman Jordan. We appreciate you, as always.
Thank you.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.